we start things off going to the first topic here of conversation. And, much like last week, we ended Friday of last week's show in talking about some players who are emerging, stepping up, rising in the preseason practice program for the Crimson Tide. And while it's great to recognize or take notice of the likes of Ben Davis and Christopher Allen, the two veterans in the room at outside linebacker, it's great seeing both of those guys step up. It's great seeing both of those guys really emerge and help out the younger players on the team and have the opportunity to start in the upcoming season. But just adding on to that, I was able to get information over the weekend about how there are two freshman outside linebackers really pushing, really emerging, really rising, and impressing teammates and coaches. And those two guys are none other than William Anderson and Drew Sanders. Both guys are exploding in the preseason practice program at the outside linebacker position. And one of the things I was told over the weekend was, Stephen, the competition is back in Alabama. Real, true competition is back within the program. If you go back to the 2018 and 2019 campaigns, not much competition, if any at all, took place. And when you don't have young guys, nipping on the heels of the veterans, really pushing the veterans and forcing those guys to be better, when you don't have competition at certain spots, then the starter at that position feels like no one's checking me, no one's making me work harder, nobody's pushing me, and especially when you don't have that self-motivation, at times you get complacent, you slack off, you take a step back, and that was a problem the last two seasons with no real competition in place. Now that competition's back, you're seeing the younger guys push the older guys. You're seeing the veteran players step up and be leaders to these young guys. And while it's awesome seeing, Ben Davis and Christopher Allen both lock in, because they both know it's either now or never. Either we lock in or one of these young bucks is going to take our spot on the field, and we're not going to get a chance to ever, be starters for the University of Alabama. So as great as it is to see, the young bucks pushing the older guys, it's even better when you look at just the likes of Will Anderson and Drew Sanders pushing, clawing, fighting for an opportunity to get on this field and have an impact, because Coach Saban looks back at the 2015, 2016, and 2017 defenses that he had, and he thinks about, how can I recreate that essence? How can I recreate that culture? How can I recreate that environment where I'm bringing pressure, confusion, chaos, concern, havoc, distress, helplessness, and hopelessness to opposing offenses from every single angle? How can I create that pressure, from every single angle? And just going back to those defenses, 2015, 2016, 2017, I distinctly remember the 2015 college football playoff semifinal matchup, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl against Michigan State, and the pressure came from everywhere. Like, you thought, Michigan State thought it was coming from the left side, it came from the right side. Spartans thought it would come from the right side, it came from the left side. Spartans thought it would come from either side, it came straight up the middle. Or there was a blitz coming off the corner or the safety. The offensive line was helpless. The running backs in that game were helpless. Michigan's offensive coordinator helpless and hopeless. And Connor Cook, I felt so bad for him at quarterback because he was running for his life. There was a moment in that game, he literally comes to the sideline, cussing everybody out, and he looks at the head coach, Mark D'Antonio, and goes, Coach, what are we going to do? The creatures, they're coming from everywhere. We can't stop them. We can't block them. You thought it would be, Jonathan Allen from one end, then boom, here comes Tim Williams, boom, here comes Ryan Anderson, boom, here comes all of these guys. And Michigan State could not block those guys, and it was terror, coming from every single side, every single angle, and that's what Coach Saban is trying to recreate. What way can we get back to, having that pressure, having that rush, having that chaos, having that concern from opposing, having that concern to opposing offenses where we're getting to them or we're getting at them from every single possible angle. And for a lot of people, you look at this for a second here, just going back to that 2015 through 2017 units, people look at, Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson here, for just a minute. Both of those guys were not just day one starters, right? They came off the bench in 3rd and long situations, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and when the starters would come off the field, Coach Saban would put those guys, Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, Rashawn Evans, Deshaun Hand, he would put those guys on the field in the Dime Rabbits package and tell them, you know what your job is, you know what your role is, go out there and do it. Go make the quarterback's life a living nightmare and go hunt the football. And that's exactly what they did. 2015, Tim Williams, 12.5 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks that year, 4 quarterback hurries. Of course, Ryan Anderson, for him, we're looking at 11.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and 10, quarterback hurries, getting after the passing game. And we look at the best help you can give a secondary. The reason why those secondaries 2015, 2016, and 2017 were so good was because of the pass rush. The best friend to a secondary is having a tenacious, consistent, effective pass rush. 2015, Alabama had 52 sacks. Because of those 52 sacks, it had 19 interceptions, including 4 for touchdowns. 2016, it had 54 sacks. And because of those 54 sacks, 16 interceptions, including 6 return for scores. And then 2017, we're looking at 40 sacks, and because of those, 19 interceptions, including 2 return for scores. So you see the pattern here. When you've got that consistent, that tenacious, that fierce pass rush coming from every single possible angle, but Alabama's secondary is able to step up, break on the football, create interceptions, create pass breakups, create turnovers to put Alabama in short fields where the offense is concerned. So, when you look at just Will Anderson and Drew Sanders here, they have the opportunity to be what Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams were, back in 2015, coming off the bench, getting after the quarterback, getting after the football, coming after the passing game. And it's crazy how you look at the Crimson Tide. It's got Christian Barmore on the defensive line, Brian Ray on the defensive line, DJ Dale on the front, Fidarian Mathis on the front, Justin Aboigbe, Byron Young. You have all these guys on the front line, right? Then at linebacker, you've got Dylan Moses, you got Christian Harris, you got Joshua McMillan, you got Ale Cajo, and then you've got, of course, Anderson and Drew Sanders. But just taking this from the nickel defensive perspective, if we're doing this from the nickel defensive perspective, or better than that, if we're doing this from the Dime Rabbits perspective, we're doing this from Dime Rabbits here. Alabama can have a situation in Dime Rabbits where you've got Barmore on the line, Brian Ray on the line, DJ Dale on the line. You could have maybe a Drew Sanders or a Will Anderson, walk down as that 4th, rush defensive lineman. Who are you going to block on the play? At any given play, at any given time, your quarterback's going to be hitting the ground because who do you assign to double team? You can't afford to double team Barmore. You can't afford to double team LeBron Ray. You can't afford to double team Byron Young or Justin Boyd, but you can't afford to double team anybody because whomever you leave single, they're coming after the quarterback. And it goes back to what I mentioned last week. The depth is strong here, on this defensive front rotation. It's gotten back to what Alabama was used to in 2015 and in 2016, where you're 2 and 3 deep here across the board. So while it's really exciting to see the likes of Ben Davis step up, and that's awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing, Davis start this year. It's been 5 years. It's been a long time, but he's finally locked in and ready to wreak havoc. And, seeing Christopher Allen step up, and, I want to see him, the former 4-star in the 2017 class out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 6'4", 250 pounds, really step up and do his thing. But just hearing the work that William Anderson and Drew Sanders have been doing, this is key, because that competition that, I'm pushing the older guys. I'm making them work. I'm making them be better. I'm making them be great. These older guys helping out the freshmen, but also keep it in the back of their minds, if I slip, if I don't play my best ball, if I don't have my best practice, if I don't have my best A game, if I'm not doing what I need to do as a junior, senior, graduate student, if I'm not doing what I need to do as someone that's a veteran, as an experienced player within the system, I run the risk of having one of these younger guys come in here fresh and take my spot. So it's just great to see the competition back. It's great to see the fire back. It's great to see the energy back. It's great to see, everybody going after that one common goal, which is get Alabama back to the SEC championship and win it, get Alabama back to the college football playoff and compete for a national championship. Most importantly, Alabama getting back to having the best guys on the field and having the best guys fight, for those starting positions. And Will Anderson and Drew Sanders, this is the future pass rush duo. This is Tim Williams, Ryan Anderson Part 2. This is exactly what this is. And just seeing how, Coach Saban started Anderson and Williams and, Rashawn Evans and Deshaun Hand, back in 2015, those guys started off as rotationary guys. They came off the bench, 3rd and long, your job, I'm going to turn you loose. You go attack, harass, kill, destroy, just utterly eradicate that quarterback and make them feel like, why in the world did we have to play the Alabama Crimson Tide, this week on the schedule? And they were able to take that role, take pride in that role, take joy in that role, take excitement in that role, and it went on to them being starters and great players at Alabama. So Will Anderson and Drew Sanders in that same situation right now as they're pushing in the preseason practice program. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started here on a Monday. Upon our return, we get to your phone calls, your thoughts, your questions, your chats, your concerns. Bring them on in here right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.